People at the beginning tend to spend too much money on a lot of equipment, and you don't really have to. I think you can start off with less than $100.
Podcasting is not easy. When I first started podcasting, I didn't think of how am I going to monetize. Most people, when they first get into the podcast, because they announce all of these major podcast deals now. Oh, I guess it wasn't recording. Podcasting isn't that easy. Most people think that it is. When I first got into podcasting, I didn't even think about monetization or any of the things. I just wanted to be good at podcasting. And then you see that there's business side of podcasts. However, now today, because if there's an announcement of a deal, everybody hears it. So everyone thinks that all people in podcasts has figured out how to monetize, has figured out how to be good, has figured out how to push their content. And that's not true. However, if you're listening and you have a business, podcasting may be something that you should consider putting in your marketing package so that you can talk about your products, your goods, your services, so that you can be a thought leader in the industry that you are dealing in. My name is Naran Tillman, and this is the Walk in Victory podcast, where we sit you at the feet of the masters and have conversations that are purposeful to help you evolve. This episode is for those who are thinking about podcasting or thinking about monetization or whatever life cycle you are in on podcasts. If you are, in fact, even in on the life cycle of podcasts. Our master today is Jonathan. Jonathan, how are you today? Thanks for coming.
Oh, it's great to be on your show, and thank you for having me on.
Podcast. I say that word. What's the first thing that came to your mind?
Pardon?
Podcast. When I say the word podcast, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Oh, work.
Word.
Yeah,
Word.
yeah. Work.
What's the first word? Work.
Yeah, it's work. It's really easy to what they call fade. My understanding is the majority of podcasts, they only do about 10 episodes and then they give up basically, because there is a bit more to it than what most people think. On the other hand, people at the beginning tend to spend too much money on a lot of equipment, and you don't really have to. I think you can start off with less than $100 and or $150, and it's more than acceptable kind of quality that you're going to get. So you don't have to spend hundreds and hundreds or thousands and thousands to get into podcasting, but people tend to spend a little bit too much initially.
That's the fun part, going shopping.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
The hard part is actually doing the work. So you've been in the industry for a long time and you've seen transformations from where it began to where we are today. Can you take us through some of those transitions that you saw and some of the things that you think may stick now?
Podcasting has had definitely its ups and downs. I got in about 8-9 years ago, and it was a friend of mine that wanted to do a joint show. And I'm still doing the show, but my original partner, my original co-host, he left about 8 years ago. But he was the original that encouraged, and he was a little bit of what I call a sound Nazi. He was in audio and he had a sound deck, and he used to spend hours editing the podcasts, and he was doing some editing for other people, but he wanted to do his own podcast, and he would spend hours editing all the ums and ers, and I don't really think it's really necessary unless you're in the top echelons of podcasting. But yeah, podcasting has definitely had some ups and downs. When I got into it, it was actually having a little bit of a down. Before I got into it, people were saying it was definitely going to be the new medium. And then people found it was very difficult to make any money out of podcasting. And then I think for about 4, 5, 6 years, as I was doing the podcast, it was a kind of it was a steady level of people entering it. And then I think when COVID and recently there's a lot in the election seen that podcasting had a very important place in interviewing politicians, influencing people. So I think there's a lot new people entering podcasting right now, actually.
Yeah, so and I'm glad that you showed us that those shifts, right? COVID, everyone became a coach, everyone became a podcaster, everyone had a mic, and then we did see how podcasting had influence politically. Where do you see the future of podcasting? And then we'll talk about the M word because everybody wants to know how to monetize their podcast.
I think the statistics are out there that only the top 2% of podcasting makes any considerable money. I think where the strength of podcasting comes is if you've got a product or service and you want to build your own branding or your own, as an individual, your leadership in a particular industry. I think it has great benefits if you're trying to increase your own exposure or increase your company's exposure. I think it definitely has a lot of benefits. And at WP Tonic, which is my main podcast, I do two. I do WP Tonic, that's really aimed at the WordPress power user or freelancer or small agency user. And then I've got another podcast called The Membership Machine Show. That's really aimed, both are aimed at my target audience, but they're separate audiences. But the second one is really aimed at membership people looking to build a membership website or a course, somebody that's looking at e-learning and build a business on e-learning. And that's what that secondary podcast is solely focused at. So both those podcasts are really aimed at audiences, either people that are looking to build a membership site on WordPress or people that haven't really decided what platform they're going to use. So I'm really utilizing podcasts to increase my exposure and increase my influence.
Let's talk about that. And that's the way to go. So most people are, because they get up in the headline, they think that, oh, I go on a podcast and I'm going to have a lot of money. You're saying
Uh,
that
uh,
find another hobby. But if you use it by trying to amplify your voice and really find your small targeted audience, how can those how can that be beneficial to someone that has the expensive equipment and the microphone?
well, I think you're correct at the first part of that question. I think you've got to find a niche. I think it's the same on any kind of online presence. You've got to find a target audience. Either it's going to be industry based or it's got to be a segment of a particular industry or a segment of a wider community. And you just got to be seen as a leader, an influencer. I think in the WordPress space, when I go to WordPress conferences, I'm always amazed at the amount of people when they hear my voice. They say, "Oh, you're the guy that co-hosts the WP Tonic show." Because throughout the 8 years I've been doing that particular podcast, I've always had a co-host. Actually, both podcasts I have co-hosts, and they're both sponsored. I do I do have managed to get sponsorship for both podcasts, but I don't make it's useful money. It helps with the costs because I don't do the editing of the podcast. I have an editor that's been with me for about 6 years. But it does cover the costs and there's a little bit extra, but it's not my main income. My main income is hosting and helping people build membership websites on WordPress or courses using WordPress. And that's what I use. So, to answer your question, it's really identifying a niche and utilizing podcasting to build influence. But the other side, you also want to go on other people's podcasts because it's a great way of introducing yourself to new audiences. And also, if the person that you're going on their show, if they do have a website, they post the episodes on their website and they have a transcription of the podcast. They normally have links to your website. So you're going to get SEO benefits as well and exposure benefits as well. So there's definitely, but like I say, it's really finding the right niche, in my opinion.
So you not only niche down on your topic, but you also niche down on WordPress. Like this is a show centered around WordPress. This is a product that I use. Does WordPress hear this and say, "Hey, Jonathan, here you talking about our product, like this synergy here," or did just like works because you were already using WordPress?
WordPress runs about 43 to 45% of all websites. It's open source with a very large community with a parent company called Automatic, but it still dominates the website building market. Obviously, you've got companies like Squarespace and Wix, and but in total, both those companies only have about 3 to 4% of the market. So WordPress still dominates in the e-commerce area. It still has around about 40 to 50%, even though Shopify has a lot of exposure. I think they only have about 25 to 30% of the market. In membership, obviously WordPress still has a large presence. You have a lot of SaaS-based competitors like Kajabi, Podia, Mighty Networks, Circle, and corporate learning management systems. So there's about 12 to 20 SaaS-based system. But on the other hand, it's an enormous market, e-learning. I think it's between 20 and 30 billion per year worldwide, and it's still a growing market. It's still projected to grow for the next 5 to 6 years. And WordPress definitely has a large presence in there. And I was a full-time web developer, designer, but I just used to take regional clients and then was asked to help out in the building of some large course-based websites. And I really enjoyed it. And I thought I'd focus my own branding in that particular area, and it's worked out quite well for me.
How do you find content? Because you really niche down to a specific company and a specific not topic, because I'm pretty sure there's plenty of ways that you can discuss website building and website needs. But how do you stay relevant? And then through the lens of a podcaster, being able to find content that keep the audience engaged and find need areas that you feel necessary to talk about.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think with the WP Tonic podcast, it's an interview based show.
Okay.
So I have a co-host and I get most of the guests through outreach or I have podcast agencies approach me. I found the agencies that approach me, the standard of guests can vary enormously. So I tend to screen those a little bit more carefully. But the ones that I approach, They're generally people that just come on my radar through my activities through social media. People recommended them to me, or I've met them at conferences. And the WP Tonic podcast, I think we're up to 975 shows. So I have a lot of returning guests that come on the show. I have a list of people I can re-ask to come back. On the Membership Machine show, we don't have guests. It's me and my co-host. And basically, I just choose subjects that I think we can discuss that would have relevance to people looking to build a membership website or a course, online course in some. Our we have our main targets through WP Tonic are entrepreneurs, associations, and people in higher education. The first one encompasses people starting to people that are making a reasonable income from their membership website to organisations, associations, and higher education. They're more kind of corporate level clients. So we just take topics that would be of interest to those particular sectors.
When you're thinking about paid for agencies, that agencies and where agencies were pre AI and where agencies are going now, are you seeing that there's a big fear that the paid for online courses are in jeopardy because people are using more and more like AI agents? Or do you, what are you telling the industry? Are they asking Jonathan, what are we to do?
Yeah, I think things are inevitably going to be changed, but on the same area, I think that there's always been a problem with courses. There is, when it comes to the solo entrepreneur, there are a lot of voices out there that say you can build a course really quickly. It will generate thousands and thousands of dollars in less than a couple months. In less than a year, you will be able to give up your day job. And then in the second year, you can just hire a virtual assistant and you can move offshore and only spend 4 hours a month and it will run semi automatically. This is all garbage. This is all nonsense. It's a shame, but a lot of people do fall for it. And there's a lot of big, I won't name them because I don't want the aggro, but there's a number of influencers out there on YouTube, podcasting, and on the internet that peddle that message. And it's regrettable, but because if you're a bit more realistic in your initial aspirations and the timeline, I still feel that you can be successful building a membership based business. Now, I think AI, the ability to get advice through AI, yeah, it's a great tool, but I think there will be increasing demand for somebody that's got experience that can also offer mastermind groups and one-to-one coaching and mixing it and providing a more kind of community focused experience. I find the most successful entrepreneurs in the membership space are those that can really effectively provide value through their pre-developed courses, but also provide a community and can provide mastermind and one-to-one coaching in one wrapper. I find those individuals that can develop that are those that have the longest, the most profitable businesses in membership.
The when were you at, where were you at when you decided, or when you decided that this was going to be your thing? Because you could have chose a lot of avenues to go down, but you niche down on this. What made you niche down so hard on this topic? And how do you think that helps you as a podcaster?
Yeah, like I said before, with one of your other questions, when I was a general web designer developer based in northern Nevada, I lived on the outskirts of a city called Reno. I was actually working for a digital agency that was doing a lot of work for other agencies in San Francisco. Reno's about a 5 hour drive to the Bay Area. And then I decided to go off on my own and start my own agency. But I was mostly doing regional client work, or I was working for other larger agencies as a subcontractor. But then I got involved with a project with a client that came direct to me who was building a course. And I was looking to find a niche because I think unless you're a web design agency in a major city, it's quite difficult to make a consistent living at it. So I wanted to find a niche and I enjoyed the project. And then I did some research. And like I say, e learning, course based training is still a growing sector. And it was growing when I did my initial research. I think you really got, obviously, it does depend on your experience. You know, what can you offer to your students, to your audience, right? So you've got to have some experience, but then it does make things easier if you're choosing a niche in an area that's still growing.
Mm.
If a particular industry is contracting and and you're not an established thought leader, it's going to be a lot more difficult.
Yes, and that's where we are right now in this age where we have to, people are all over the place. So it's like the Wild West, and because no one knows what's going to happen. But if you niche down, start getting really good at some of the things that we see trending. Do you see any trends that are on the horizon in that space?
Like I say, I think all the people that approach us for consultation around membership and building courses, I can, they should be like I say to a lot of people, hopefully you have got a social media presence.
Mm.
You have been making videos for YouTube. You have been making videos to TikTok. You do have a presence on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn. If you're B2B, you should be very active on LinkedIn and on YouTube. And you really should be concentrating on trying to build your email list. I think all the entrepreneurs that have been really successful with us have been attempting to build up their email list because, and that's a good example. About 6, 7 years ago, or 8 years ago, when social media first appeared, everybody, all the experts were saying that email marketing was going to be finished, and that hasn't panned out, has it? I think having a really active list which you can market to has never been more important. I've got it's an area where the one area that I would criticise my activity is I've never put enough effort in building up my own email list. But I do a lot of videos. I have quite a large YouTube channel and podcasting and other Twitter. I still call it Twitter, not X. I don't do much, and I do a lot on LinkedIn. I post a lot on LinkedIn. I don't do that much on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok because it's really hard unless you hire some people to help you to be everywhere. But for a small team, we focus on 4 to 5 main channels, as I call them. But those that are successful have been active. And then what I would say to them is, have you, and this is nothing original, I get all this from the bootstrap startup world, basically. I nicked a lot of ideas, but I think it's very relevant if you're trying to build a membership course, is that I would never build a course straight off. I would never do it. And I seeing if there's product fit. And what I mean by that is it's so easy to identify a need now because there's so many different groups on Reddit, on Facebook groups. You can join groups and see if you can see consistent patterns in the advice and the problems people are having. And then you need to write down if you're seeing patterns, LinkedIn groups, Facebook groups, Reddit, there's right. Then you need to write down are there any patterns you're noticing? And then you need to write your verbiage, and your verbiage is for a landing page. And say that you're planning to build out a course. Don't give a vague time period, and you'll be in the near future be offering early sign up discount, and this is what you plan the course to be. And then you just get that landing page, and then you promote it a lot and see if you get any sign-ups. You offer them a free lead magnet or some time, but you just want to see if if there's going to be any demand for your course before you start building one out. And I would always suggest that the first course not be that large and it tries and answer a real problem. And that first course, if you have a successful launch and you actually get people to sign up, they're not going to sign up for a couple of $1,000 when it's your first course. If you can get 199 or $499 out of people, and you can get 20, 30 people to give you money around that area, I see that as a really successful launch. But then that first course should be then utilized at some stage as a free lead magnet to build up your email list. And then you should look at it as the first step for building your second course, which then could be around a couple of $1,000. And I really see that stepladder approach as a more realistic plan of action than these drifters that tell people that they can end up on the beach only working 4 hours a month, which is just absolute nonsense, isn't it?
Yes. So when you hear these drifters and you know that you have your solution, which is a brilliant solution and one that is more sustainable than
Well,
trying
it's
to.
possible, isn't it? Hopefully I've been making sense. I think what I've been expressing to you is just a more common sense approach.
Yes. Yeah. And does that actually help you gain more content, right? Because now you have every day somebody's being sold the bill of goods. But now you can turn on your microphone and you can really show people. And here's the rub for those of you who are listening. People may not really know me or Jonathan, but then they hear somebody that they know and they say, "Oh, Jonathan and Iran don't know what they're talking about. This guy said I can."
I'm so tempted to get the people that
Yes, I
I'm
do.
attacking. They are very successful, but they also, in my opinion, are drifters. But unfortunately, there's a side. What my message does appeal to a certain minority, but to be truthful about it, I probably could be a lot more financially successful if I just adopted the drifter message.
Hmm.
But I'm not trying to make out that I'm some kind of saint or something. I'm just an average guy. But in my heart, I just can't do it. I just can't push a message which I know is total nonsense because I don't think I'm a good enough actor. Because I think you got these people, this message that I get to, they tend to have either annual or every 6 month launches, and they have very large Facebook, Instagram, paid advertising, YouTube, it tends to be YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook, and they have 250,000 to 500,000
Yeah.
advertisement budgets, and they're looking to get their victims. They run a campaign for, they don't, the agency that's working for them, they run a campaign for 6 weeks, and they can get over 100 people to sign up. And then they're looking for 1,000, 2,000 people to attend a free webinar. And then they're sold the $5,000, $10,000 solution, and they can bag in $2 to $4 million each. And if you just care about the money and you have absolutely no conscience, because they're normally around, you got the wrong thought patterns, or if you just think the right way, success will just come. And don't get me wrong, I think your thoughts are important, but that kind of wacko message, in my opinion, is totally discredited. But a lot of people go for it, don't they? They want that message, don't they?
Makes them feel good.
Yeah.
I thank you so much, Jonathan. This has been a fun conversation, and I learned a lot because I am in the middle of doing some online coursing and stuff like that too. So this message is
Well,
tough
if
for
you
me.
ever want any advice on that, you can go to the WP Tonic, w-tonic.com website, and you can always book a free consultation. You got my email details. And there's just one thing I want to point out to people. We've got a special offer. If you go to wp-tonic.com/deals, we've got a course, and it's normally around $50. But if you go to that landing page, you can get the course for half price for $29. And it shows you how to build a course from beginning to end on WordPress. And if you buy the course, you then will be sent a coupon code that will take 50% off your first year hosting with WP Tonic. So it's a great offer. I'll send you the details so if you can put that in the show notes. And like I say, the course you get for half price, and your first year's hosting, you get that for half price as well.
Not only that, we'll put it in I do a blog on LinkedIn
Oh,
too.
no.
So I'll put that
I'll
in the
send you the
blog.
links. I'll send you the
Yeah,
links to it.
yeah, because what I'll do is I'll probably make a little thing and put it in all of the blogs for anybody that comes to our blog because people need help. And this is what Walk in Victory is about. We want to
Yeah.
help people. We want to help people get to where they want to be. You
Yeah,
cannot
well, yeah, could I
that
just want, I don't want to come across negative, because we've helped hundreds of people, and those that got a bit of commitment, that are that have realistic expectations, they have been successful.
yeah,
I know quite a few people that after 2 to 3 years, they got enough income, and a lot of them are in six figures, and they have been able, if they wanted to give up their day job, and they have a good, consistent business in the six figures. They're not in seven figures, but they're in the lower six figures. And they've been highly successful. And also know a lot of people that gave up.
yeah.
But that's, you can say that in general. Most people just give up. But those people didn't, and they had something to give, and they've been successful.
And Jonathan, this is the fascinating thing. I don't think that you're being negative. I think you're being realistic. It's still a business. And in order for it to be sustainable, it's not going to happen overnight. No business is an overnight wonder. Every business is going to have its personal struggles. It's going to have its personal journey. It's going to have its, and even if I took your course today and we started working together, my journey is not going to be like your journey.
No.
You can guide me, but I'm
Well,
going to have my own.
because you've probably got a day job, you've probably got other commitments, you've probably got family commitments. So you've got to be realistic about your time and be quite truthful. Unless you've got a team, you've built a team behind you. As an individual entrepreneur, if your course really just exploded, you'd be overwhelmed anyway, because there's a lot more to running a community and running a course successfully than most people think. And if you don't have any time to have processes and get a small team to help you, you'd be overwhelmed anyway.
Yeah. So listen, everyone, go and get that manual. It's half price if you're interested. Even if you just don't know, you can't rely on the government to sustain you. You can't rely on, you have to take steps. And we're just showing you viable options and pick and choose. Don't wait till 2026. Start now. Start now. We don't ask you for cash apps, Venmos, or any of those things. Those things are good, and I don't knock shows that do. What we do ask is that you support our guests. All of Jonathan's information and his company's information is in the show notes. That you hit subscribe and share. That's your currency to me. Your likes, your subscriptions, your shares. And go to our website and sign up for our mailing list. Our book is forthcoming. Probably by the time you're listening to this, the book is out. Go get our book, Awakening. I Am Internal Awakening in AI Age, where we talk about context prompting and so the similarities between prompting for AI agents and prompting for the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind, just like your agent, wants to give you your end desire, but you just have to know how to use the proper prompts. Enjoy the rest of your day. Don't walk with your head down. Don't walk making excuses. Jonathan is a part of the Walk in Victory family. Together, we all walk in victory. Peace.